It was April, and the world below the mountain had already seen the last of the spring blossoms. But up here at Hanshan Temple, the peach trees were just beginning to bloom. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of fresh petals. A woman dressed in blue stood before the temple gates. She reached out, snapped off a small peach blossom branch, and tucked it into the swaddling clothes of the infant she carried. The baby seemed to stir, moved perhaps by the touch of the flowers. His left eyelid flickered as if he were trying to force his eyes open to see the world one last time. The woman looked down, her heart heavy with a silent, bitter grief. She whispered under her breath, telling him not to come back to this world in his next life. She had heard from the villagers that the monks of Hanshan Temple were men of great virtue. She hoped they would at least perform the rites to send his soul to peace. She didn't knock. Instead, she gently placed the bundle on the cold ground before the temple doors. A sudden gust of wind swept past, and in an instant, she was gone. It was as if she had never existed. A moment later, the heavy doors creaked open. A burly man dressed as a martial monk stepped out. He spotted the bundle, picked it up, and headed back inside. "Hey, come look at this. There's a kid here," Zhao Manzi shouted, his voice booming across the courtyard. Not far away, a young man with a sharp, wicked aura chuckled. "I hate kids. Just eat him, Zhao Manzi. Get it over with." Zhao Manzi rubbed his smooth, bald head and grumbled. "I don't eat kids. They're too small. You have to let them grow into adults first. There's more meat on the bones then. Hey, fatty, why don't you take him and feed him to your little pets?" He turned toward the kitchen, but the man working inside didn't bother to respond. Just then, a middle-aged man stepped out from the main hall. He looked like an immortal who had descended from the heavens, his movements elegant and steady. He walked over to the stone table and looked down at the baby. He sighed, shaking his head. "What a waste," he muttered. "A perfect primal chaos body, ruined like this." Primal chaos body? The wicked young man rushed over, his eyes wide. "I thought the brat was an eternal, immortal body. That's top-tier stuff. People outside are getting more vicious by the day. Look what they did to him." The kitchen door swung open, and a massive, rotund man walked out. His flesh wobbled with every step, and his stomach looked like it was about to burst. He had heard the words, primal chaos body, and couldn't stay away. "I knew it," the fat man said, leaning in. "Only a primal chaos body could stay alive this long without a heart. An eternal immortal body would have died instantly." The child was a hollow shell. His heart had been carved out. His eyes were gone, leaving behind dark pits. Even his bones hadn't been spared. 2 were missing from his frame. Amitba, truly a tragedy. An old monk appeared out of nowhere. His white eyebrows were so long they draped over his shoulders like silken cords. To save a life is to build a 7-story pagoda. Do any of you four have a way to save this little one? The wicked youth crossed his arms and laughed. "Master, a human can't live without a heart. There's no saving him." The elegant man closed his eyes, his fingers moving as he calculated the child's fate. He shook his head. "The heart was taken a month ago. It's been too long. If we had found him sooner, maybe I could have given him a few years. Now, I could extend his life, but it would be a constant struggle. The moment I stop, he dies." The fat man grinned, looking almost pleased. "Fine by me. When he dies, give the body to me. Poisonous maggots raised in a primal chaos body. The results should be spectacular." The old monk sighed, realizing they had no solution. Then it is his fate. Such suffering. "Little benefactor, I will perform the rites now. It is better than letting you live in agony." He set aside his prayer beads and lowered a withered hand toward the infant's head. A soft golden light began to glow around him. He was about to end the child's life mercifully when the ground suddenly shook. A surge of pure, malevolent energy erupted from the main hall. The 5 men froze, their faces turning pale. They blurred into motion, rushing inside to the base of a massive Buddha statue. Beneath that statue, something was buried, something that was now fighting back with terrifying strength. "It's the demon progenitor," the old monk shouted, his long eyebrows flying wildly as he struggled to maintain the seal. "That heart has been suppressed for countless ages, yet it's still this powerful. We were lied to." The wicked youth snarled, his face contorting with effort. That damn white emperor said the 5 of us would be more than enough to hold it down. He was playing us. Think of something. Zhao Manzi roared. If it breaks free and triggers the 10 directions annihilation array, we're all dead. The elegant man, known to the others as the sword demon, narrowed his eyes. I have an idea, but it's a gamble. Speak up or we're finished, the youth urged. The sword demon looked back at the stone table outside. That infant. He has the primal chaos body, and his life force is almost gone. We can use him to absorb the energy of the demon heart. Let him act as a vessel to bleed off the pressure. It might give us enough of an opening to suppress the riot. The others traded looks. It was a brilliant, desperate plan. The wicked youth dashed out, grabbed the baby, and placed him directly in front of the Buddha statue. Immediately, the dark energy shifted. A stream of black power poured into the infant's tiny body. The pressure on the 5 men vanished instantly. Now, push it back down, the monk commanded. But before they could act, the demon heart went silent. The violent energy vanished as if it had never existed. The hall fell into a deathly stillness. Then, a sound broke the silence. Thump thump. Asterisk, thump thump. Thump thump, asterisk. A heartbeat. Faint at first, then growing louder and stronger until it echoed off the stone walls. The old monk rushed forward and scooped up the child. His eyes went wide. The demon heart, it's gone. It transferred itself into the boy. It has merged with his vessels. They are one and the same now. The group stood in stunned silence. None of them had expected this. Wait, the wicked youth said, a slow grin spreading across his face. Does that mean the demon heart is technically unsealed, but because it's in the kid, the annihilation array didn't trigger? The fat man turned to the sword demon, his voice low and dangerous. Is this the risk you mentioned? You almost killed us all. The sword demon didn't deny it. He simply looked at the child. We've been trapped here for 300,000 years. I'd rather take a gamble than wait for a hopeless end. Amitba, the old monk said, clasping his hands. From this day on, we no longer need to waste our cultivation to suppress that thing. This is a blessing. But Zhao Manzi wasn't smiling. He stepped closer, staring at the baby in the monk's arms. You're all celebrating, but have you thought about what comes next? The demon progenitor is trying to return through a new body. Do you really think a heart like that will ever be controlled by a human? The demon heart was a poison. It was bound to corrupt the boy's soul. He was too weak, his spirit too fragile. Someone suggested we just dig the heart back out. The wicked youth, the one we called the flower thief, raised an eyebrow. He pointed out that the heart was already unsealed and the array hadn't triggered. It was safe to remove. The fat man nodded in agreement. He didn't trust the demon progenitor. He was afraid that if the boy grew up, the ancient demon would use his body to return to life. What are we waiting for? The sword demon growled. He didn't wait for an answer. With a flick of his wrist, he used his energy to pull the infant right out of the old monk's arms. He extended a sharp finger, aiming straight for the baby's chest. He was going to cut it open. But then, the baby moved. He didn't cry. Instead, he reached out with his tiny, chubby hands and grabbed the sword demon's finger. He opened his eyes and let out a bright, bubbly giggle, looking at the cold-blooded killer with pure curiosity. The sword demon stiffened. He let out a sharp huff and immediately tossed the baby toward Zhao Manzi. You do it, he snapped, turning his back. You love eating people anyway. Eat the kid. Zhao Manzi caught the boy. The baby reached for him too, flashing a toothless grin. Zhao Manzi actually laughed. He doesn't look very tasty. Fatty, your turn. He tossed the baby to the fat man. The fat man didn't even look at the child before passing him off to the flower thief. The youth looked completely panicked. He held the baby awkwardly, shifting his arms like he was holding a live grenade. I hate kids, he yelped, throwing the baby back to the old monk. Master, he's all yours. The old monk cradled the child gently, rocking him until he calmed down. He looked at the other 4 and smiled. It seems he belongs with me after all, but I am a man of peace. I do not spill blood. Let the poor thing live. Peaceful? Give me a break, the flower thief scoffed. Didn't you slaughter the entire Sioux kingdom? Hundreds of billions of people died by your hand. Your palms are stained deeper than all of ours combined. You didn't blink then, but now you're hesitant to pull out one heart? The monk just stared at him. He didn't say a word. The flower thief eventually grumbled and looked away. He had a big mouth, but he knew he was no match for the old monk. This boy has a chaos saint body, the monk continued. The demon heart is trying to infect his soul, but the natural divinity of his physique is blocking it. The heart tried to take over the nest, but it underestimated the host. Now it's trapped. It can't escape. The monk chanted a golden soul curse, creating a second barrier around the boy's spirit. He promised this would keep the demon at bay. The others didn't argue. Their silence was their consent. From today on, we take turns raising him, the monk decided. When he's older, we teach him everything we know. If he masters all 5 of our arts, he won't have to fear the heart's backlash. He checked the baby's swaddling clothes and found 2 words embroidered in gold thread. Fongling. His name is Fongling, the monk said. Little Fongling. Time moved fast. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. The old monk sat cross-legged before a Buddha statue, chanting his daily prayers. Suddenly, a small head peeked out from behind a massive stone pillar. It was Fongling. He was 5 years old now, and he was grinning mischievously. He crept up behind the monk on his tiptoes. Then he lunged. Infinite galaxy fist, he shouted. He punched toward the monk's back. He was small, but the air whistled around his fist. It carried the force of 1,000 soldiers. A shimmering light, like a river of stars, trailed behind his strike. The monk didn't even turn around. He just flicked his long, white eyebrows. The hair extended like a whip, wrapping around Fongling and hoisting him into the air. Master, put me down, Fongling cried out, dangling upside down. I'm sorry. I won't do it again, I swear. The monk didn't listen. He started spinning his eyebrows, whirligigging the boy around like a yo-yo. Master, I'm gonna puke, Fongling yelled, his head spinning. If I throw up on you, don't blame me. The monk finally retracted his eyebrows, and Fongling thudded onto the golden floor tiles. He groaned, clutching his stomach. How long have you been practicing that fist technique? The monk asked. About 2 years, Fongling mumbled, sitting up. Master Manzi taught me. Is it that bad? He said it only took him 3 days to learn it. The monk chuckled. He was bragging. It took him at least 300 years to master that move. It's the ultimate secret of the Galaxy Sect, the strongest body-refining sect in history. Where is the Galaxy Sect? Fongling asked, his eyes wide with wonder. I don't know. Maybe it's gone. Or maybe it's hiding where no one can find it. Master Manzi was kicked out because he was too violent. He ate too many people and offended too many powerful families. That's why they went into hiding. Is Master Manzi a bad person? Yes, the monk smiled. In this place, everyone is a bad person except for me. That's why we're locked in here. Master Manzi eats people. Master Fatty is full of poison. Master Sword likes to kill to sharpen his blade. And Master Flower? He was the most notorious flower thief in the world. A flower thief? Fongling tilted his head. I like picking flowers too. The ones in the backyard smell great. It's not that kind of flower, kid. You'll understand when you're older. Just don't be like him. Stay close to me. Learn my scriptures. Stop lying to the kid, the flower thief shouted as he stormed into the hall. Fongling, the monk, is the real villain. Back in the day, if you didn't bow to him, he'd kill you on the spot. He's killed more people than the rest of us combined. Fongling ran to the monk's side and grabbed his robes, giggling at the flower thief. Nice try, Master Flower. I'm not 3 years old anymore. Master is the kindest man I know. He wouldn't even sweat a mosquito. The flower thief's face went dark with frustration. The old monk laughed and patted the boy's head. Smart boy, you know how to tell right from wrong. Come, let me teach you my next technique. You need to inherit my legacy first. But that night, the atmosphere shifted. The candles on the golden stands flickered as if they were about to die. 5 shadows stretched across the floor, dancing in the dim light. The old monk looked up, his expression grave. You all felt it, didn't you? Zhao Manzi nodded, his voice low. Fongling's heartbeat, it's getting weaker. It's almost stopped. Over the years, the demon heart had failed to take over my body time and time again. I guessed it was finally giving up. It didn't want to waste any more of its energy on me. Even though that heart had fused with my Chaos Saint body, its own consciousness still remained. My masters knew that if they didn't wipe it out, it would always be a hidden danger. The problem is, Master Fatty said, his voice heavy, the demon heart has stopped fighting. If it stops beating entirely, little Fong Ling won't live much longer. Master Flower scratched his head, looking anxious. Is there any way to force it to keep beating? The room went silent. These 5 men were legends. There was very little in this world they couldn't handle. But this involved a level of power they had never reached. I'll extend his life, Zhao Manzi said firmly. I can give him a few hundred years, no problem. Master Flower let out a dry laugh. Manzi, you're talking about sacrificing your entire life's cultivation. We've only raised him for a few years. Have you really grown that attached to the kid? Zhao Manzi looked at him and smirked. Oh, and who was it that secretly injected their source chi into Fong Ling's body yesterday? You wanted to jumpstart his heart, didn't you? Too bad it was like throwing a meat bun at a dog. It did nothing but give the demon heart a bit of its strength back. Master Flower jumped up, his face turning red. I was just playing around. I have plenty of source chi to spare. What's it to you? Enough, the old monk said, raising a hand. Don't wake the boy. Suddenly, all 5 of them froze. They sensed something strange coming from my room. In a flash, they were standing by my bed. I was sitting up, blinking at them. Masters, why aren't you sleeping? I was fiddling with a ball of black mist between my palms. The masters stared at it, their eyes wide with shock. None of them could say a word. That black mist was the remnant consciousness of the demon ancestor's heart, the very thing they were worried about. And somehow, I had pulled it out of myself. Fong Ling, the monk asked softly, what is that in your hands? My chest felt tight lately. I explained, rubbing my heart. It woke me up just now. I felt like something was stuck inside, so I just pulled it out. How? Master Sword asked, his voice sharp. It was hiding and wouldn't come out, I said, gesturing with my hands. So I forced it. Then it just popped out. It looks gross and it keeps sticking to me. Master, can you get rid of it? The old monk hummed and held out his palm. A golden Buddhist seal appeared, glowing brightly. As he moved his hand toward the black mist, it hissed and sizzled, vanishing into nothingness. Whoa, that seal is so cool. I cheered, my eyes sparkling. I want to learn that next. Sleep now, the monk said with a kind smile, patting my head. A second later, they were back in the main hall. They looked at each other in stunned silence for a long time. Finally, Master Flower started laughing. That little brat had us worried for nothing. The Chaos Saint body is even stronger than we thought. His constitution has mutated, Zhao Manzi added. Years ago, his saint body was broken, and they used the demon heart to patch it. That heart provides infinite energy. His body has been drinking from that well for years. He hasn't just recovered, he's evolved. Have you noticed his blood-red eye? It's stabilized. Tell us, Master Sword said, leaning in. From what I can tell, that eye can distort space. He might even be able to open portals directly. In a fight, he could dismantle an enemy's attack or just exile them into the void without shedding a drop of blood. Also, those 2 supreme bones that were stolen from him, they've almost grown back. I saw the most primitive runes forming on them. Master Flower grinned. The thieves who cut him open back then would never believe this. He's becoming a monster. He might even surpass the White Emperor. We all lost to that guy, but if we train a disciple who can beat him, that would be the ultimate revenge. The boy's body isn't the scariest part, the old monk said quietly. It's his comprehension. It took him only 2 years to learn Manzi's internal art and the limitless punch. I bet in 3 more years, he'll master my myriad word mantra. Actually, Master Flower whispered, he already learned my God Step movement technique last year. Master Fatty glared at him. You old rogue. We agreed not to teach him any techniques until he was 3. You went behind our backs the moment he could walk. Master Flower just chuckled and looked away. That night, I slept better than I ever had in my life. For 5 years, I had been trapped in the same nightmare every single night. I would dream of being cut open, my heart and bones ripped out while I begged for mercy. But this time, the dream didn't come. I didn't wake up until noon the next day. I was dreaming about eating a feast when a cold, sharp voice snapped me back to reality. Do you know what time it is? Master Sword was standing by my bed, looking stern. The sunlight streaming in hurt my eyes. I slept too well, I mumbled. I didn't have the nightmare. You won't have it again, Master Sword said. The demon heart had been the source of those terrors. With its consciousness gone, the nightmare was dead. Really? That's great. I jumped out of bed, full of energy. Later that day, we stood in the courtyard in front of the Great Hall. Master Sword stood with his hands behind his back, looking like a statue. From today on, he said, I will officially teach you the way of the sword. My way can be summed up in one word: war. He told me how he had traveled the world with a single blade, defeating every swordsman in his path. He knew 1,000 techniques, but he was only going to teach me one. He raised his hand, and a sword made of dark red blood materialized in his grip. Just looking at it made me feel like I was drowning in a sea of corpses. I stumbled back, trembling with fear. This is the blood sword, he said. To practice it, you must use blood. It is simple. You kill. You use the blood of your enemies to temper your own life sword. The stronger the enemy, the stronger the blade. Back then, I only hunted the masters. He looked at me, the red sword shimmering. What you see now is only a fraction of my power. If you faced my true blade, the sheer killing intent would shred you to pieces. The process is easy, but starting is hard. Most people fail because they lack one thing: pure, unfiltered killing intent. You must fuse that intent with your own blood. Only then will the blood sword be born. Don't you always want to leave Hanzhan Temple? Master Sword asked, his eyes narrowing. The day you condense your own lifeblood sword is the day I let you go down the mountain. My heart nearly leaped out of my chest. Really, I had been stuck in this tiny temple for years. I was dying to see the world outside. Master Sword nodded solemnly, then raised a finger to my forehead. He transferred the sword techniques directly into my mind. I didn't waste a second. I spent the entire morning obsessed, pouring every ounce of my energy into those mental images. By evening, the sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and orange. Master Sword and Zhao Manzi stood on the cliff's edge, watching the sunset. They weren't just watching the view. They were men who had been trapped for 300,000 years. They craved freedom even more than I did. As they turned to head back for their own cultivation, I came sprinting toward them, my feet pounding against the dirt. Master Sword, I did it. I condensed the lifeblood sword. I shouted, my voice echoing across the back mountain. Master Sword froze. His brow furrowed in disbelief. Beside him, Zhao Manzi looked just as shocked. When did you teach him? Zhao Manzi muttered. At noon today, Master Sword whispered back. He looked at me, his expression unreadable. If you've really done it, show me. I nodded and took a stance. I raised my right hand, mimicking the movements from the technique. In an instant, the innocent air around me vanished. A brutal, violent killing intent erupted from my body. A jagged, evil-looking dark red blade materialized in my grip. The killing intent wasn't overwhelming in strength yet, but it was pure malice. It felt like it wanted to tear everything in sight to shreds. The aura was so dark that the old monk and the others sensed it from across the temple. Within seconds, they all appeared at the back mountain. Master, here it is, I said, holding the vibrating red blade. Does this count as success? Master Sword gave a slow, stiff nod. It'll do. Then I can go down the mountain? I asked, my eyes wide with hope. Master Sword let out a dry chuckle. I agree to let you go, but I'm only one of your masters. Whether the others agree, that's not up to me. I might have been young, but I wasn't stupid. I realized immediately I'd been played. Master Sword, you're cheating. I don't care, I'm going. You always say you're the strongest of all my masters. If they don't let me go, just beat them up until they agree. I rattled it off like a little machine gun, puffing out my chest. You're getting a bit arrogant, aren't you? The flower thief laughed, shaking his head. I admit your sword is strong, but you can't beat me. First of all, I never said that. Don't let this brat lie to you, Master Sword said calmly. Then he looked at the flower thief. Second, if you have the guts, don't use your divine movement technique. Let's see how many of my strikes you can actually block. The flower thief scoffed. If I don't use my speed, what's the point of fighting? Zhao Manzi stepped forward, looking annoyed. Master Sword, our battle back then never had a winner. You really think you're the strongest of the 5? Why don't we try again right now? Let's see if your sword can even scratch my skin. Enough. Stop being childish, The old monk interrupted. He looked at me with a gentle but firm gaze. Little Yuan, when you're a bit older, we'll let you go. For now, forget it. Go back and practice. The sooner you learn everything we have to teach, the sooner you can leave. I always listened to the old monk the most. I slumped my shoulders, feeling miserable, and trudged back to my room. Once I was gone, the four masters turned to Master Sword at once. Master Sword let out a long, heavy sigh. I'm serious. I only gave him the manual today. They were worried. The blood sword required the user to constantly tap into their killing intent. It could easily warp a person's mind. They had initially agreed to wait, fearing the demon heart inside me would turn me into a mindless monster if I started too early. Even though the consciousness of the demon heart was gone, the heart itself was still evil. It was clearly influencing my personality, which was likely why I could condense such a wicked blade so fast. Perhaps, the old monk said. Fortunately, I've been teaching him daily. My lessons should help him suppress the madness within so he doesn't fall into the path of a demon. You old hypocrite, the flower thief snorted. You just love taking the credit. We all taught him well. That night, I tossed and turned in bed. I couldn't sleep. I sat up and rubbed my chest. It was itching like crazy. It was right where those two bones had grown back, the ones that had been ripped out of me when I was a baby. I could feel strange runes pulsing on the surface of the bone, but I couldn't understand them. Suddenly, I felt a presence. Someone was in the room. I looked up and saw a figure standing in the moonlight. Master Manzi? I asked, confused. Then I felt a wave of relief. You're just in time. I stopped. Something was wrong. Usually, Zhao Manzi felt like a sturdy, honest uncle. But now, he looked like a predator. His eyes were terrifying, and his mouth was hanging open, revealing jagged, non-human teeth. Little Yuan, you smell so good, he whispered. Drool leaked from the corner of his mouth, dripping onto the floor. Let Master have a few bites, okay? I can't hold it back anymore. I was terrified. I screamed and tried to bolt, but he was too fast. He lunged, pinning me to the floor with monstrous strength. Just one bite, he hissed, his tongue darting out. If I accidentally eat you all at once, don't blame me. Help! Help me! I screamed, completely helpless under his weight. He picked me up, opening his maw to swallow me whole. Just as his teeth grazed me, the old monk and the others burst in. He's having an episode again, the flower thief muttered, looking frustrated. He moved like a blur, snatching me out of Zhao Manzi's grip. Quick! Subdue him together, the old monk shouted. Golden Buddhist light erupted from his body. It took all of them working together to finally pin Zhao Manzi down. I crouched in the corner, trembling. I always thought it was a joke when the other masters said Master Manzi liked to eat people. I didn't think it was real. I didn't sleep a wink that night. Zhao Manzi spent the entire time screaming and howling in the distance. Don't be afraid, little Yuan, the old monk said, staying by my side. Your Master Manzi is just sick. He'll be back to normal soon. Master, why is he like that? I asked. The old monk sighed, looking toward the place where they had restrained him. When he recovers, ask him yourself. Even I don't know the full story, only rumors. I nodded, my mind racing. I started thinking about everything they said about each other. I used to think they were just teasing. Master, I whispered, they say you've killed the most people. That you're the worst of them all. Is it true? The old monk stroked his long white eyebrows and smiled sadly. It's true. I took a wrong path a long time ago. I killed many innocent people. Back then, I was obsessed. If someone wouldn't convert, I would crush them with a single palm. Convert? What does that mean? It means to give your heart and soul to a belief, the old monk explained. I wanted to become a Buddha so badly that I demanded everyone follow my way. Anyone who didn't was a heretic in my eyes. And the fate of a heretic was destruction. So, I killed everyone who refused to believe. If it were me, I'd be happy to convert and follow you, Master, I said with a giggle. You're the kindest person in the world. To me, the old monk really was the gentlest soul I knew. Of course, in my small world, there were only 5 other people besides myself. The old monk smiled at my words, reaching out to pat my head with fatherly affection. Around noon, the chaos finally died down. Zhao Manzi had finally stopped screaming and went quiet. The sword demon and the others emerged from her meditation room, looking completely drained. Trying to restrain a rampaging Zhao Manzi without actually hurting her had clearly taken a toll on them. "Little Yuan, your master Manzi wants to see you," the fat master said, his belly wobbling as he walked over to me. "I'm coming." I didn't hesitate. I brushed the dust off my clothes and headed straight for Zhao Manzi's room. Inside, I found her leaning against the wall. She looked normal again, honest, steady, and calm. Being near her usually made me feel safe. "Master Manzi," I whispered, reaching out to tug on the edge of her sleeve. She managed a weak smile. "Little Yuan, did I scare you last night?" I nodded honestly. "A little. It was the first time I saw you like that." "It's an old illness," she sighed, her eyes filled with exhaustion. "It flares up from time to time. When I grow up, I'm going to find the best doctor in the world to cure you, I promised." She shook her head with a faint laugh. "No ordinary doctor can fix this. But hearing you say that makes me happy. You see, I practice an incredibly evil technique called the Taotai God Art. It makes my physical body powerful, but the price is high. I have to eat people to grow stronger." I listened wide-eyed. "In the later stages, the drawbacks appear," she continued. "The people I've consumed, they died with so much hatred. That resentment doesn't vanish. It gathers together and invades my soul. When I lose control, it's because those vengeful spirits are screaming and howling inside my head. They drive me mad." I thought I understood. "But Master Sword's blood sword art also requires killing to get stronger. Will I end up like you one day, haunted by spirits?" "No," she said firmly. "He uses blood to temper a sword. The sword's edge is so sharp and full of killing intent that it completely destroys the souls of those it kills. They don't get the chance to become vengeful spirits. However, that sword will affect your personality. It makes you violent and impulsive. Don't let your sword master's calm appearance fool you. He used to be a total lunatic." I looked at her, blinking. "Master Manzi, teach me the Taotai God Art too." Her face fell. "Why would you want to learn that? Didn't you hear what I just said? If it weren't for your other masters, I would have stopped long ago. I would have turned into a mindless, man-eating monster by now. I already taught you the Star River Fist. That's enough." "No," I muttered. "The old monk said I could learn it. He said his spirit-shocking incantation can block the resentment from invading my soul. If we stop the spirits from the very beginning, I'll be fine." She went silent. She had actually discussed this with the old monk before, and they had reached the same conclusion. But this technique was still considered heretical and disgusting. Suddenly, she paused, as if listening to a secret message. It was the flower thief, speaking to her through a voice transmission. "The kid is our disciple." The flower thief's voice echoed in her mind. "Do you really expect him to walk a righteous path? This ruined temple has no resources. He'll have to leave one day. We're stuck here for thousands of years, but he'll be out there alone with no background and no help. We need to teach him everything, even the skills that people despise." Zhao Manzi thought about it for a moment. Then, she raised her hand and pointed a finger at my forehead, transferring the Taotai God Art into my mind. "The first step is internal cultivation," she instructed. "Everyone's body is different, so I can't help you with the specifics. You have to explore it yourself. You must truly know your own body before you can succeed." "I understand. I'll practice hard." I smiled. In my heart, I had a secret reason for wanting to learn it. I figured if I mastered the art, I might eventually find a way to cure her illness. "One more thing," she warned. "When you eventually leave this mountain, never let anyone know you possess this power. If you do, the whole world will hunt you down. If you must use it to cultivate, make sure no one is watching. And if someone does see you, you have to eat them too. No one can know." "I'll remember," I said solemnly. My stomach suddenly let out a loud growl. I rubbed my belly and looked at her sheepishly. "Master Manzi, I'm hungry. I'm going to go find some food." I was at the age where I was growing fast, which meant I was always starving. Aside from the fat master, my other 4 masters never ate. They claimed they had reached a level of fasting where food wasn't necessary. "Go on," Zhao Manzi waved me off. "Eat your fill." I ran to the kitchen. The fat master was sitting by the stove, stoking the fire. The pot was bubbling, and the smell was incredible. "Fat master, what's for lunch?" I asked, grabbing a small stool and sitting next to him. He chuckled. Stewed scorpions. Wow. My favorite. My eyes lit up. But master, I've always wondered. You don't actually eat that much. How are you so fat? Being fat is a blessing, he laughed. Look at your other masters. They don't eat, but they don't get thin either. Since I actually eat every day, shouldn't I be even bigger than them? I nodded, though I wasn't sure if that logic checked out. He stood up, lifted the lid, and took a sip from a ladle. He nodded in satisfaction. It's ready. Let's eat. I was already holding my cracked bowl, waiting patiently. He filled it up, and I dug in, even crunching down on the scorpion legs. Seeing me eat so happily made him smile. This is nothing, he said wistfully. Dragon tendons, phoenix wings, Kirin horns. Now those are real delicacies. Are they better than scorpion soup? I asked curiously. Of course. Dragons, phoenixes, and Kirins are true spirits. Back in the day, I was lucky enough to catch a stray young phoenix. That was the first time I tasted a true spirit. I imagine dragons and Kirins taste just as good. I grinned at him. Then in the future, I'll catch some dragons and Kirins for you to taste, master. Silly boy, he laughed. Those creatures are not to be messed with. Even we have to keep our distance if we see them. But you said you caught a phoenix, I muttered. That was an accident. I just happened to find one that was easy to handle, he explained. Anyway, once you're full, wait for me in the courtyard. After I wash the dishes, I'm going to start teaching you my ultimate techniques. I looked at his massive frame and hesitated. If I learn them, will I end up as big as you? I looked up at my master, my voice small. Is being fat bad? The fat master stared down at me. What? Is being fat a problem? It's not that, I whispered, glancing at his massive frame. It's just, you're so big. It looks a little scary. He burst into a hearty laugh. He reached out and ruffled my hair, his palms so huge it covered my entire head. Don't worry. My size is something I was born with. Even if you wanted to be this big, you couldn't. I nodded, feeling a bit relieved, and went to wait in the courtyard as I was told. A few minutes later, he waddled out of the kitchen. Your fat master is best at using poison, he said, his voice dropping into a serious tone. But I also have a treasure. He flipped his palm over. A small, green tripod appeared in his hand. I grabbed the little thing and turned it over, inspecting every inch. What does it do? This is the heavenly cauldron, he said with a proud grin. It's my natal spirit treasure. Your other masters weren't lucky enough to be born with one of these. What's a natal spirit treasure? I asked. Some people are born special, like you, with a powerful physique, he explained. Others are born with a treasure fused into their very soul. That's a natal spirit treasure. They vary in power, but my heavenly cauldron is top tier. It can swallow every poison in the world and refine it into my body. That's why I've dealt with venomous creatures since I was a baby. I remembered what the others had said. Master Zhao told me your poison is terrifying. Just how strong is it? He grew quiet for a moment, thinking. Let's put it this way. If I released all my toxicity at once, not a single blade of grass would grow wherever I walked. Every living soul would die. I shivered. That was horrifying. Could you even kill the other masters? He coughed awkwardly. Well, probably not. But I could definitely make them feel very, very miserable. He cleared his throat and straightened up. Anyway, I'm going to transfer this cauldron into your body. Starting today, you're going to refine your body with poison. I blinked in confusion. But you said it was fused with you. How can you give it away? Because I'm strong enough to break the rules. I've even developed a secret technique to forcibly strip treasures from others. I'll teach you that later. Now stay still. He pushed the cauldron toward me. It didn't hit me. It sank slowly into my chest, vanishing under my skin. Within seconds, I felt it. The heavenly cauldron was there, tucked away as if it had always been a part of me. Master, if you give this to me, what happens to you? I asked, worried. He smiled. I don't really need it anymore. I've swallowed almost every poison on Earth. I've hit a bottleneck. Unless I find legendary, mythical toxins, which I've hunted for 10,000 years without luck, my power won't change. Now, let me show you how to use it. He reached into his sleeve and pulled out 2 vibrant purple scorpions. Put these in the cauldron. Then, place your hands on the lid and slowly absorb the toxins as they leak out. I stared at the scorpions. Wait, aren't these the ones I usually eat? Yes, he laughed. But you only eat them after I've extracted the venom. I've bred a lot of these over the years. I have enough to last you several years. Once you've absorbed them all, your toxicity will be at a decent level. Then, I'll teach you how to control it, how to release it, and, more importantly, how to pull it back. I didn't waste any time. I opened the cauldron's mental space, sucked the scorpions inside, and pressed my hands against the lid. I felt a cold, sharp tingle as wisps of purple poison began to crawl from my hands and spread through my entire body. Years passed. Time was a blurry concept for my masters. They had been trapped in this ruined temple for what they estimated was 300,000 years. But since I arrived, the days took on a new clarity. 18 years was nothing compared to an eternity, yet for them, these 18 years felt more real than all the centuries before. One afternoon, the 5 of them were sitting at a stone table, drinking tea and debating philosophy. Suddenly, a powerful surge of energy erupted from the back of the mountain, piercing the sky. The old monk stroked his long white eyebrows and smiled. He's broken through the heavenly mystery realm. He's reached the heavenly spring realm. The flower thief crossed his legs, looking impressed. 18 years old. No resources, no pills, just raw talent. When I was the crown prince, I had everything at my fingertips, and I was only at the mid-stage of the heavenly profound realm at his age. In this world, the path of cultivation had 7 realms. Heavenly script, heavenly profound, heavenly mystery, heavenly spring, jade balance, opening yang, and shaking light. To step into the immortal path, one usually needs to reach the shaking light realm before the age of 1,000, Zhao Manzi muttered. At the rate Lin Yuan is going, he'll get there before he's 100. His talent is terrifying. I suppose the suffering he endured, having his eyes gouged and his bones stripped, wasn't for nothing. With the demon ancestor's heart, his chaos body has evolved into something monstrous. Master Sword spoke up next. He's reached his limit here. Aside from the Fat Master's poisonous bugs, we have nothing left to give him. It's time to let the boy go out into the world. He looked toward the horizon. He forged his blood sword when he was 5. Over the years, he's mastered my 3 greatest strikes: Dragon Slayer, Heaven's Inquiry, and Total Suppression. As long as he doesn't run into those ancient monsters hiding in the shadows, he can protect himself. But Zhao, how is his Taotai god art? He finished the internal cultivation 3 years ago, Zhao Manzi replied. He's made some of his own tweaks to it, but it's complete. He uses blood to refine his sword and flesh to refine his body. Killing one person fuels both paths. It's efficient. She turned to the monk. Master, what do you think? The old monk opened his eyes slowly. The young bird has grown his feathers. It is time to fly. He shouldn't be trapped in this tiny temple with us old ghosts. He has mastered the great seal of the Buddha. He can even control the soul-shocking curse I placed in his mind. He is safe from spiritual attacks. The flower thief laughed loudly. And don't forget, his movement technique is at the 2nd stage. He can outrun almost anyone. I even taught him my fragrance-stealing techniques so no woman can ever trick him. I told you not to teach him that trash, Master Sword snapped, looking disgusted. Trash? People used to kill for my secrets, the flower thief argued. Besides, isn't eating people and killing everyone just as trashy as what I do? Enough, the fat master interrupted, his belly shaking as he spoke. Stop arguing. Lin Yuan is coming. They were supposed to be masters, but they were arguing like children. I could hear their bickering from a mile away, though I had long since grown used to it. 18 years had passed. I was no longer that pathetic, broken child they had found in the ruins. I had grown into a young man, standing tall with a sharp, composed elegance. The blood-red eyes that had regrown all those years ago now looked perfectly normal, hiding their true nature. Only when I tapped into my power would they reveal the crimson horror within. My masters once promised that when I reached the heavenly realm, I could finally leave the mountain. I walked up to the stone table, my voice calm. Does our agreement still stand? The old monk nodded slowly. It does. With your current cultivation and skills, you are ready to face the world. We've told you much about the lands below, but remember, we have been sealed in this temple for 300,000 years. Things change. When you encounter trouble, use your head. I will remember your teachings, Master. I replied. The flower thief stepped forward, looking uncharacteristically serious. Lin Yuan, the women down there are tigers. Especially the pretty ones. The more beautiful they are, the more dangerous they become. Most of them are up to no good. Stay away from them. The others stared at him in shock. The world's greatest lady killer was giving advice on how to avoid women. He just shrugged. What? Am I wrong? I looked at him and gave a small nod. Don't worry, Master Flower. If a woman gets in my way, I'll just cut her down with one strike. I won't say a single word to her. Master Sword let out a rare, satisfied smile. That's my boy. Remember, if there is no woman in your heart, your sword will naturally be divine. Zhao Manzi looked at me with lingering worry. Your cultivation is decent, but the world is vast. There are many who are stronger than you. Do not be arrogant. We are trapped here on Cold Mountain. If you get into trouble, no one can help you. You are on your own. She paused, her voice softening. I know you want revenge on the people who dug out your heart, gouged your eyes, and slaughtered your kin. But do not rush. Grow stronger. Your time will come. I understand, Master Zhao, I said. I will keep my blade hidden until the moment is right. Finally, I turned to the fat master. He sat there like a mountain of flesh, silent as usual. After a long silence, he managed to squeeze out one sentence. Eat your meals on time. I nodded, feeling a lump in my throat. I stepped back and bowed deeply to the 5 people who had raised me and given me a second life. I don't know when I will return, but I will train hard. One day, I will return to break this 10-direction annihilation array and set you all free. They were villains, the worst of the worst in the eyes of the world. Anyone could hate them, but I couldn't. To me, they were family. Go, the old monk said with a kind smile. I turned and walked toward the gates of Cold Mountain Temple. As I pushed them open, a gust of wind rushed in, carrying peach blossoms from the trees outside. I had arrived years ago amidst the peach blossoms, and now, with petals caught in my hair, I was leaving. It felt like a dream. This was the first time in 18 years I had stepped outside those gates. The stone steps leading down the mountain were covered in slick, green moss from centuries of neglect. A normal person would have slipped and fallen, but my footing was steady. As a child, I had dreamed of this moment. But now that I was actually free, I felt a strange sense of loss. I didn't know where to go. I simply followed the mountain path until I reached a small, remote village. My appearance immediately drew the attention of the locals. A few young men gathered around me, though they kept a respectful distance. I was wearing silk woven from the fat master's spirit silkworms. I looked like a high-born noble. Greetings, young master, a dark-skinned youth said. What brings you to He village? I lost my way in the mountains, I told him. I'm looking for the nearest city. Could you point me in the right direction? I see, he nodded. He told his friends to go back to their work and turned back to me. I'm heading into the city for work anyway. I'll show you the way. His name was Hidayo, though everyone called him Blackie because of his tan. As we walked, I realized people outside weren't as cunning as my masters had warned. Dio seemed genuinely kind. Is your family the Lin clan from the south of the city? He asked. I shook my head. No, I'm from far away. I only know this as the Great Chu Empire, and there is a city nearby called Wild City. Dio stopped in his tracks, looking at me like I had grown a second head. Great Chu? Master, are you joking? Great Chu was destroyed ages ago. We are in the Nanyang Kingdom now. It's been 20,000 years since our founding. And Wild City? That name was changed to Willow City lifetimes ago. I felt a chill. My masters really hadn't left that temple in tens of thousands of years. Dio looked me up and down. I get it. You must be a cultivator who traveled from a very distant place via a teleportation array, right? Something like that, I replied. We talked for the rest of the journey. I learned that Willow City was a massive place with over 1 million people, including several cultivation families. To the rest of the world, it was just a backwater, but to me, it was a start. We reached the city gates just as the sun was setting. The bustling streets and the noise of the crowds felt surreal. It was a world I had only ever seen in my imagination. Well, Master Lin, we're here, Dio said with a smile. I have to get back to the house where I work. Good luck to you. I hesitated. Dio, you mentioned the Zhao family you work for is a cultivation family. I've traveled a long way and I'm out of money. Do you think you could introduce me? I need a place to stay and a way to earn my keep. Dio looked unsure. Well, what kind of skills do you have, Master Lin? I thought about my 18 years in the temple. Does killing people count? I haven't actually done it yet, but I've spent my whole life studying the art of it. Dio gave a nervous laugh, clearly thinking I was joking. I'm sure you have plenty of talents, Master Lin. Come on then, let's see what they say. In that case, you should consider becoming a guard for the Zhao family, Dio suggested. The pay is way better than what I make as a crappy carpenter. I can't guarantee they'll take you, though. Their standards are incredibly high. That's fine, I said with a smile. Thanks for the help, Dio. He nodded and started walking. Follow me. But I have to warn you, the Zhao family is big on rules. When we get there, don't look at things you shouldn't, and don't ask too many questions. You don't want to go looking for trouble. I understand. Don't worry, I replied. A short while later, Dio led me to a massive estate on the west side of the city. He went inside first while I waited. After a long pause, a portly, middle-aged man in expensive robes walked out. He looked me up and down with a sharp, calculating gaze. I am Zhao Ruixiong, the head butler of the Zhao estate, he said. His voice was polite, but cautious. He didn't have much cultivation, but he had spent decades as a butler. He knew how to read people. He could tell immediately that I wasn't someone to be trifled with. You don't look like an ordinary man. What business do you have with the Zhao family? Speak plainly. I've ended up here with nowhere to go, I told him. I'm looking for work. Zhao Ruixiong fell silent, thinking. He found me strange and didn't want to bring a potential problem into the house, but he was too afraid of my hidden strength to just kick me out. He was busy trying to come up with a polite excuse to reject me when a carriage pulled up to the gates. The eldest miss is back, the butler called out, rushing over to greet her. A soft voice responded from inside the carriage. A black leather boot stepped out, followed by the daughter of the Zhao family. She looked at me with curiosity. Uncle Rui, who is this? The butler quickly explained the situation. The girl, Zhao Shilian, looked at me with a calm expression. If he's fallen on hard times, helping him for a while isn't an issue. You can stay at the Zhao estate for now. As for what work you'll do, we can discuss that later. Thank you, I said, giving her a respectful cupping hand gesture. The butler didn't put me with the servants. Instead, he led me to a top-tier guest room. After a few brief instructions, I was settled in. Later that day, in the study of the family head, Zhao Tianlong, the atmosphere was heavy. Shilian, Zhao Tianlong said deeply. Uncle Rui told me you took in a stranger. He had nowhere to go and asked to stay for a bit, she replied. I went to see him myself just now, her father said. That man is not simple. That's exactly why I took him in, she countered. The Qin family has been pushing us too hard lately. We need more hands. I'd rather have him here than elsewhere. Aren't you afraid he's a spy sent by the Qins? Zhao Shilian laughed. The Qin family couldn't produce someone like him. Their family culture is too rigid to breed that kind of character. He's definitely not one of theirs. Zhao Tianlong laughed too. That's my daughter. You're right. I've traveled all over and seen a lot of people. This kid, he's something else. A month passed. For weeks, nobody asked me to do a single thing. I was served good food and drinks every day. It felt strange. I was actually on my way to find the fat butler to ask what was going on when I felt someone approaching. A knock came at the door. Is it convenient for me to enter? It was the eldest miss, Zhao Shilian. She was wearing a pale blue palace dress that made her look elegant and refined. She was carrying a stone food box. Come in, I said. She set the box down and smiled. The kitchen made some laurel cakes. It's a specialty of Willow City. Since you've come from so far away, you should try some. She had already tried to dig into my background through the servants. She knew I wasn't from the Southern Ocean Kingdom. My accent gave that away instantly. Thank you, Miss Zhao, I said with a nod. By the way, I've been here a while. Is there anything you need me to do? She chuckled. We have plenty of servants and guards. There's no need for you to worry about chores. Just rest and recover. If you need anything, just ask. We might be a small family, but we know how to treat a guest. I thought for a second. Actually, there is one thing. I traveled here from a very long distance via teleportation array. The journey back is long and dangerous. I need to understand the geography and the world better. Could I use your family library? I want to read some history and records. We have just the place, she said. Follow me. I'll show you the way so you can go whenever you like. I followed her through a maze of corridors and gardens until we reached a secluded, thatched building. It looked like nobody had been there in ages. Dead leaves cluttered the courtyard. The fat butler, Zhao Ruixiong, came running up, panting for breath. He fumbled with a set of keys and opened the lock. It's been a while since anyone was in here. It smells a bit dusty. Let me get the servants to clean it first. Uncle Rui, just give the key to Master Lin, Zhao Shilian said. He'll be coming here often. It saves you the trip. The butler respectfully handed me the key. Once the servants finished a quick sweep, I stepped inside. I have other matters to attend to, Zhao Shilian said. If you need anything, tell Uncle Rui. I nodded and immediately pulled a book from the shelf. Back at the ruined temple, I had read the old monk's sutras, but his knowledge was tens of thousands of years out of date. I needed to know what the world looked like now. I began to read greedily, moving through the books at a blistering pace. Another month flew by. In the Zhao family garden, Zhao Shilian was tending to some flowers when she sensed her father approaching. Father, she said, standing up. Zhao Tianlong sat down at a stone table. How is our guest doing? I've been away on business since he arrived. He reads, she replied. Day and night. He hasn't left that library for weeks. How strange, Zhao Tianlong muttered. Have you found out who he really is? She shook her head. It's like he appeared out of thin air. Then stop investigating, he decided. We don't want to offend him. Anyway, when is your senior brother arriving? I expect the Qin family to make their move on the spirit mine within the next 2 days. They won't let it go. Zhao Shilian sighed softly. He should be here any moment. If the situation at home wasn't so desperate, Zhao Shilian never would have invited that man over. I sat in the quiet library, putting down my book as my mind drifted. Even though I was a distance away from the garden, my soul strength allowed me to hear everything. I knew every corner of the Zhao estate. I knew exactly what was being said. With a slight flicker of my shadow, I vanished. A moment later, I appeared in the garden right next to the father and daughter. My sudden arrival startled them both, their eyes widening in shock. I appreciate your hospitality during this past month, I said calmly. If the Zhao family runs into trouble, I will step in to help you once. Zhao Tianlong scrambled to his feet, a wide smile breaking across his face. Master Lin, please have a seat. I sat down and glanced at Zhao Shilian. Miss Zhao, are you a member of the U.S. sect? I hadn't spent the last month reading for nothing. I finally had a clear picture of this world and the southern Yang Kingdom. Luqing was just a small pond filled with minor cultivation families. The real power lay in Lintian City, a place teeming with ancient sects and massive clans where the martial path truly flourished. Zhao Shilian nodded. Yes, I am an inner disciple of the U.S. sect. I only returned home recently to handle some family business. Just then, a hearty laugh echoed from the arched gate. Junior sister, I'm here. Uncle Zhao is here too. A man in white robes strode toward us. He had decent looks and an air of arrogance. I am Qianling. I assume my junior sister has mentioned me? Senior brother Qian, Zhao Shilian said, standing up to greet him. Nephew Qian, you've finally arrived, Zhao Tianlong said with relief. Come sit. Qianling started to sit, but his eyes immediately locked onto me. His confident expression soured. Junior sister, who is this? This is Master Lin Yuan, she replied. An honored guest of our family. Qianling turned his gaze toward me, his eyes narrowing. And where does Master Lin practice his craft? I'm just a wanderer, I said simply. Oh, a rogue cultivator. Qianling chuckled, shaking his head dismissively. Zhao Tianlong saw the tension rising. He didn't want to fight, but he didn't know how to intervene, so he just tried to smooth things over with small talk. Eventually, I excused myself and headed back to the library. As soon as I was out of earshot, Qianling turned to Zhao Shilian. Junior sister, what is that guy's background, really? I don't know, she admitted. He was stranded, and we gave him a place to stay. You're being foolish, Qianling said, his face turning stern. He looks decent enough, but he's likely a con artist. I've seen his type before. They wander into the countryside, put on an act to look powerful, and then trick families out of their money, or worse, their daughters. I don't think so, Zhao Shilian laughed awkwardly. Zhao Tianlong's face paled. He knew my hearing was sharp. If this idiot offended me, the consequences would be dire. Nephew, don't think too much. Master Lin isn't that kind of person. Qian Ling's expression darkened. Seeing the father and daughter both defend me wounded his pride. It seems I'm overstepping then. Since you have such a master protecting you, you don't need me. I have other matters to attend to. Goodbye. He stood up and walked away, expecting them to chase after him. He knew the Zhao family was in deep trouble and needed his strength. He planned to use that leverage to finally make Zhao Shilian his woman. Zhao Shilian looked at her father, but Zhao Tianlong shook his head, signaling her to let him go. Qianling marched out of the Zhao estate, fuming. I'll give them 5 minutes, he thought, slowing his pace. They'll come crawling back. Back in the garden, the atmosphere was heavy. Daughter, that senior brother of yours is petty and small-minded, Zhao Tianlong sighed. Stay away from him. He has hinted many times that he wants me to be his cultivation partner, she said softly. I've always refused. I only asked for his help because of the crisis with the Qin family. Let him go. We have Master Lin now, Zhao Tianlong said. The way he appeared out of thin air proves he is at least in the second realm of martial arts, the heavenly mystery realm. I am only at the peak of the first realm, the heavenly book. In this world, the 7 realms, book, mystery, hidden, spring, balance, yang, and light, were separated by massive gaps in power. Return valid JSON only. Scene_ID starts at 988. Meanwhile, outside the city, Qianling's face was turning green. He had walked so slowly he was practically standing still, yet no one had come to apologize. That mountain girl. She actually chose a stray over me? Fine, he hissed, looking back at the city walls. If you won't give me what I want, I'll go to the Qin family. They're fighting you for that spirit mine. I'm sure they'll pay well for my help. He turned to head back toward the city, but stopped when he saw a figure walking toward him. It was me. Qianling sneered, a murderous glint in his eyes. So it's you. You ruined my chance with my junior sister. He drew his sword. You want to kill me? Try it. Wind bell slash, he barked, swinging his blade. A gale of green energy flew toward my throat. I didn't move. I just watched it hit me. The blade shattered against my skin. Qianling's jaw dropped. He realized instantly he was outmatched and turned to bolt, but a suffocating, evil aura erupted behind him. Schlick. A sword made of pure blood erupted through his chest. I felt a surge of dark pleasure through the connection to the blade, my body shivering slightly. Within seconds, the blood sword drained him dry. His body withered into a husk. This was my first time truly using the blood sword technique. It was intoxicating. As his shriveled corpse hit the dirt, I raised my right hand. A small vortex appeared in my palm. This was the Taotai god art. Unlike my master, Zhao Manzi, I didn't need to physically eat people. I had modified my hand to act as the stomach. The last bits of Qianling's life essence were sucked into the vortex. He was weak, but I could still feel the benefits flowing into my limbs. I think I'm starting to like this feeling, I thought, a dark excitement bubbling in my chest. Later that night, I was back in the library, finishing the last of the books. A soft knock came at the door. Master Lin. Zhao Shilian's voice was gentle. Come in, I said. She entered carrying a stone food container. She was dressed much more provocatively tonight, her robes loose and low-cut. As she walked over, a jade pendant fell from her waist and clattered to the floor. She leaned down to pick it up, intentionally revealing a clear view of her chest to me. I took one look, then silently shifted my gaze back to my book. I had seen enough for one night. I realized then that I needed to stay far away from women. Master Flower Thief was right. They really did have the power to steal a man's soul. This was the first time I'd ever felt such a strange, unsettling sensation, and it caught me completely off guard. Zhao Shilian stood back up, a faint smile playing on her lips. She had seen my reaction clearly. She probably assumed that someone like me had seen countless women, but now she realized I was still quite innocent when it came to the opposite sex. Young Master Lin, you've been reading day and night. It must be exhausting, she said softly. I went to the kitchen myself and brewed a bowl of blood ginseng soup for you. I know this is likely just an ordinary item in your eyes, but I hope you won't reject it. She opened the stone container and pulled out a bowl of deep red soup. Thank you, Miss Zhao, I said. I took a few sips. Back at the Cold Mountain Temple, I usually ate the leftovers from the Fat Master's cultivation, mostly gross insects. Since staying at the Zhao Manor, I finally learned what real food was supposed to be. The soup was excellent. As I drank it, a warm, comfortable energy flowed through my limbs. "Young master, you've been in our home for over a month now," she said, her voice turning shy. "Calling me Miss Zhao feels a bit distant. If you don't mind, you can just call me Shilian." She was acting this way partly because her father, Zhao Tianlong, told her to, but she was also at that age where curiosity about men was natural. From the moment she first saw me at the gates, her heart had skipped a beat. She'd hidden it behind her modesty, but after a month of watching me, her admiration had only grown. With her father's encouragement today, she finally found the courage to be proactive. But I gave her nothing. I just kept my eyes on my book, ignoring her advances. Eventually, looking a bit frustrated, she gave up and left the library. On the other side of the manor, Zhao Tianlong was pacing back and forth in the courtyard. He was anxious. Ever since he saw what I was capable of, he couldn't stay calm. He knew a person like me wouldn't stay in a small place like the Zhao family for long. His only chance to tie me to them was through his daughter. "Well, how did it go?" he asked as soon as Shilian returned. She shook her head, looking dejected. "Father, young Master Lin doesn't seem interested in me at all." Zhao Tianlong sighed. "I suppose that's not surprising. He comes from a high background. He's seen plenty of beautiful women. We're just people from a small town. It's hard to catch his eye. But don't worry, you're still excellent." Shilian gave a quiet hum and hurried to her room, wanting nothing more than to sleep. Back in the library, I closed the final book and stood up to stretch. I had finally finished the last one. It was time to leave. But before I went, I had one more thing to do. My shadow flickered, and in an instant, I appeared at the Qin family estate on the east side of the city. The Qin family was more powerful than the Zhaos and had been bullying them for years, especially recently over a new spirit mine. I had received the Zhao family's hospitality, so I figured I'd solve their Qin problem before I left. But honestly, that was just an excuse. As I stood before the Qin manor, my body started to tremble. It wasn't fear, it was excitement. After killing Zhao Shilian's senior brother earlier that day, the beast sleeping inside me had fully awakened. The next morning, as the sun began to rise, a frantic knocking woke Zhao Shilian. She threw on her clothes and opened the door to find her father looking more excited than she had ever seen him. "Shilian, last night, the Qin family was wiped out," he whispered urgently. "The entire manor, over 1,000 people, not a single survivor." "What?" Shilian gasped. "There was no noise at all. Qin Hui was stronger than you, father. What kind of master could do that without a fight? Is it?" Zhao Tianlong nodded. "It's him. It has to be. I went to the library just now. He's already gone. He left a note on the table thanking the Zhao family for our hospitality. He's gone." A flash of regret crossed Shilian's eyes. "Well, it's for the best. He never belonged here anyway. But the Qin family being gone is a miracle. Now the Zhao family will be the only power in Lu City." "Yes," Zhao Tianlong marveled. "Young Master Lin is as decisive as his name suggests. I only hoped he would help us hold our ground, not wipe them out entirely. But there is one weird thing. I checked the Qin manor. There are no bodies. If there wasn't blood on the ground, I'd think they just packed up and moved overnight. The bodies are gone." Shilian muttered. Maybe he didn't want anyone to know his origins. Bodies can talk. Experts can look at a wound and tell exactly what technique was used. Outside the city, I stopped to rest for a moment before continuing my journey. I had disposed of the bodies for a simple reason. The Qin family had become fuel for my blood sword and Taotai god art. I knew that in the outside world, these techniques were considered demonic and were strictly forbidden. Even though no one could trace my background, I preferred to erase all evidence. My month of reading in the Zhao library had taught me everything I needed to know. The world was divided into 8 massive regions: the East Green Domain, West Desert, South Doe, North Sea, Central God Domain, Demon Barbarian Domain, Heaven Devil Domain, and the Underworld. The Nanyang Kingdom I was in now was just a tiny border country in the South Doe Domain. I also found a record of a massive event from 18 years ago. The Fong family, the #1 cultivation clan in the East Green Domain, was wiped out in a single night. The book didn't say why. Maybe the author didn't even know. The destruction of a domain lord's family caused massive panic back then, but since then, nothing else had happened, and most people had forgotten. But I didn't believe in coincidences. I was exactly 18 years old, and the family that was slaughtered just happened to be named Fong. I was certain I was the orphan of that family. When I was a child, before my demon heart was suppressed, I had nightmares every night. I dreamed of my heart being cut out, my eyes gouged, and my bones being kicked. It felt more real than a dream. Even now, I could still feel that phantom pain. I wasn't in a rush to investigate my enemies yet. Even if I found out who they were, I didn't have the power to kill them. My only goal now was to get stronger. I had spent a long time thinking about where to go next. I wasn't heading toward the capital. I was crossing the borders of Nanyang, moving toward the kingdoms of Tianming and Blue Moon. My destination was the Blood Frog Lands. It was a chaotic territory where the borders of 3 different nations met. No law reached that place. It was a wild, lawless zone crawling with fugitives and outlaws from the surrounding kingdoms and even further north. To survive in the Blood Frog Lands, you had to be strong. According to the books I read, if you had enough power, you could do whatever you wanted there. An orderly world didn't suit me. An anarchic land where the strong ruled was the perfect place for me to grow. Since the Blood Frog Land sat right on the western edge of the Nanyang Kingdom, the Zhao family library had plenty of books describing the area. I had even pocketed a few maps. I wasn't following the maps perfectly yet, though. I was taking a slight detour. I needed a mount. The journey to the Blood Frog Lands was long and grueling, and traveling on foot was a waste of time. I knew Lu City was remote enough that demonic beasts gathered in the nearby wilds. I planned to head into those mountains and find a beast to tame. Night fell while I was still in the mountain valley. I built a fire, the wood crackling and popping in the silence. I sat cross-legged by the flames, my face glowing red from the heat. I wasn't just resting, I was cultivating. Spread out beneath me was a layer of spirit stones I had taken from the Qin family. Before long, the energy from the stones was drained, and they crumbled into fine white powder. I opened my eyes and nodded in satisfaction. Now I understood why my masters told me to leave the temple. The world below was full of good things. If I had grown up with resources like these, my cultivation would be much higher by now. The effect of the spirit stones was incredible, but I didn't have enough. I needed to find a way to get more. Suddenly, I turned my head toward the east. I felt someone approaching. With a quick wave of my hand, I scattered the dust from the spirit stones so no one would see. 2 figures emerged from the darkness. It was a woman and a young girl. The woman looked to be in her 30s, with a mature, elegant beauty and her hair pinned up high. She held the hand of a little girl who had her hair tied in 2 adorable buns. "Ching, look. This big brother is so handsome," the little girl said, grinning at me. The woman she called Ching glanced at me briefly. She didn't say anything at first, just led the girl toward my fire. "The night is deep, and my little girl is a bit frail," she said, looking at me. "Do you mind if we share your fire for the night?" I nodded and moved to the side to give them space. As they sat, I sized the woman up. Her cultivation was impressive. Back in Lu City, the strongest person I sensed was Qin Hui, the head of the Qin family. But compared to this woman, Qin Hui was nothing. He was only at the peak of the Heaven Book realm. This woman was in the middle stage of the Heaven Secret realm. One was at the first realm of the martial path, while she was already at the third. "Big brother, do you want some cake?" the little girl asked. She was energetic and bubbly. She pulled out half a piece of cake from somewhere and held it out to me. "It's really tasty and crunchy." I smiled and took the cake from her small hand. "Thank you." Qing watched us silently. To her, I probably looked like nothing more than a young noble from some decent family. I wasn't worth her concern. "Big brother, why are you out here all by yourself?" the little girl asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. "I'm going into the mountains to find something," I replied. The little girl pouted and shook her head quickly. "No, don't go in there. Qing said this mountain is very dangerous. There are demons that eat people inside." I laughed softly. "If it's so dangerous, why are you 2 going in?" The little girl didn't have a filter. "We're going in to find something too. But my Qing is super strong. With her around, nobody can hurt me." "And what kind of treasure are you looking for?" I asked. The little girl was about to answer when the beautiful woman let out a cold snort. The girl immediately shut her mouth, sensing she had said too much, and sat there quietly.